I remember sitting at the kitchen table in 1973, the electric bill on one side and the grocery money on the other. There was not enough for both. Like most mothers, I followed everyone around, switching off lights. But the next bill barely changed. That was when I learned the real waste was hiding where I never looked. The water heater reheated water nobody was using. The television used electricity even with a black screen. Cold air slipped in beneath the back door. From then on, I wrote down the meter every Sunday and tested one change at a time. None of these 10 tricks are illegal. Most cost little or nothing, while a few reveal where your house may need more attention. Have you ever looked at an electric bill and thought, what am I supposed to cut this month? Tell me below. I know that feeling. Number 10 begins at the washing machine. Number 10, wash everyday clothes in cold water. For years, I turned that dial to warm without thinking. My mother had done it, so I did too. Then one Saturday, everyone had used the hot water before I started the laundry. I turned the dial to cold, added the same detergent, and waited to see what would happen. The clothes came out just as clean. That was when I learned how much of the energy in a warm wash goes into heating the water rather than turning the drum. In some machines, water heating can account for about 90% of the energy used during a warm cycle. Now, I use cold water for ordinary clothes and dark colors. I save hot water for illness, heavily soiled items, or anything whose care label requires it. Detergent made for cold water helps too. The change takes 3 seconds, and I do not notice it when I fold the clothes. The water heater notices it with every load. Next, I looked at the 5 lights we used most. Number 9, replace the 5 bulbs you use most. When LED bulbs first appeared, I did not like them. The light was cold and made my kitchen look like a hospital. So I kept the old bulbs longer than I should have. Then one evening, I touched the lamp beside my chair after reading. The shade was hot. That old bulb used 60 watts, and much of that energy was becoming heat instead of light. I did not replace every bulb at once. I started with the lights in the kitchen, porch, hallway, and living room, plus the lamp beside my chair. A 9-watt LED gave us roughly the same amount of light as the old 60-watt bulb. If you prefer a softer color, look for warm white. And if a light has a dimmer, make sure the new bulb works with it. The rooms look the same. The bulbs simply stopped giving off so much wasted heat. After turning them off that night, I noticed several little red lights that never went dark. Number 8. Put standby devices on one switch. Those little red lights belong to the television, the speakers, the game console, and an old printer nobody had used all week. The screens were dark, but the devices were still waiting for someone to press a button. One of them uses very little. A house full of them, drawing power day and night, is another matter. I put the television, speakers, and game console on one power strip with a switch. Before bed, I turn off that single switch. The printer and computer accessories are connected to another one at my desk. I leave the refrigerator, medical equipment, security system, and anything else that needs constant power alone. Some cable boxes and recording devices also need to stay connected. The television takes a few seconds longer to start. That is the only difference I notice. What bothered me more was hearing the dryer run for an hour on a clear, windy afternoon. It reminded me that the clothesline behind our house could still do the same job. Number 7, let the sun dry the heavy loads. Our clothesline runs from the back porch to a maple tree. Towels go on first, then sheets, work shirts, and anything else that can stand a little sunshine. An electric dryer does more than turn the clothes. It creates heat and pushes warm, damp air outside. Towels, jeans, and bed sheets usually keep it running the longest. On dry days, I hang those heavy items outside and save the dryer for bad weather. If the towels feel stiff, 5 minutes in the dryer after they are dry softens them without running another full cycle. A folding rack near an open window works too, as long as the room has good airflow. If outdoor pollen bothers you, keep sheets and pillowcases inside. I never stopped using the dryer. I simply stopped using it when the wind could do the work for free. One afternoon, I carried a basket of dry sheets through the kitchen. The refrigerator was humming when I came in. Half an hour later, it was still humming. Number 6, help your refrigerator release its heat. At first, I thought the refrigerator was simply getting old, but when my son pulled it away from the wall, we found a thick blanket of dust around the coils underneath. We unplugged it, loosened the dust with a soft brush, and removed it with a vacuum. Once the refrigerator could release heat again, the motor did not have to work as hard. The coils are not in the same place on every refrigerator, so check the manual before moving or opening anything. If yours can be reached safely, cleaning them about twice a year may help. I also close the door on a strip of paper. If the paper slides out easily, the rubber seal may be letting cold air escape. The cleaning took only a few minutes. Afterward, the refrigerator finally began taking breaks again. The next morning, I stood in the shower and watched something else we had paid to heat disappear down the drain. Number 5, use less hot water and keep a comfortable shower. My old shower head sent plenty of water toward the wall and down the drain, but that did not make the shower feel any better. I replaced it with a good low-flow shower head. The stream still felt strong, but it used less water each minute. I kept the comfortable shower and stopped heating water I never really used. That one change helped twice. We used less water, and the water heater had less work to do. If your pressure is already weak, clean mineral buildup from the shower head before replacing it. And choose a model that produces a comfortable spray. Saving water is not much help if everyone in the house hates using it. I had always assumed more water meant a better shower. It did not. It only meant more hot water had to be replaced in the tank. And once I began paying attention to that tank, I realized we were keeping it hotter than our family needed. Number 4, stop keeping the water hotter than your family needs. Our water heater kept an entire tank hot all day, even when nobody was washing dishes or taking a shower. Ours had been set higher than we needed for years. My son checked the manual and helped me lower it gradually. We waited, then tested the water at the faucet. We settled at about 120 degrees Fahrenheit, and nobody in the family noticed the difference. The heater did. It no longer had to maintain that extra heat every hour of the day. Some homes need a different setting because of health needs or certain appliances, so check the manufacturer's guidance before changing yours. If the controls are behind a panel or near wiring, let a qualified person handle it. Our showers were still comfortable and the dishes still came clean. The only thing missing was heat we had never needed. The following windy morning, a strip of tissue showed me where some of that paid-for warmth was going. Number 3, find the drafts your furnace is fighting. On a windy morning, I held a strip of tissue beside the back door. Before long, it began to flutter. Cold air was slipping in beneath the door and along one side of the frame. My son added a door sweep at the bottom and foam weather stripping around the edge. They cost very little, but the floor beside that door stopped feeling so cold. I checked the older windows the same way. Where air came through, removable window film helped during the winter. Use paper or tissue to find drafts, never a candle. And leave vents, exhaust openings, and air supplies for fuel-burning appliances alone. If you are unsure what an opening does, have someone qualified check it first. The furnace had been warming the house while the back door quietly undid part of the work. I had been paying to heat the back porch without realizing it. Once the house could hold its warmth, I stopped keeping every room fully heated while everyone was asleep. Number 2, stop heating an empty or sleeping house. I used to keep the thermostat at the same temperature day and night. I thought lowering it would only make the furnace work harder later. Then a heating technician explained it simply. A cooler house loses heat more slowly to the cold air outside. I began lowering the thermostat by 7 to 10 degrees for about 8 hours while we slept, or when nobody was home. A programmable thermostat brought the temperature back before we woke up. In many homes, a schedule like that can reduce heating and cooling costs by around 10%, although the result depends on the house, weather, and heating system. If you use a heat pump, make sure the schedule suits it. A large temperature change can trigger costly auxiliary heat. The furnace did not need to keep me quite so warm while I was already under 3 blankets. But even with the new schedule, it still ran too often. The reason was waiting above the ceiling. Number 1, fix what is above your ceiling. I had changed the bulbs, sealed the doors, and lowered the thermostat. The furnace still ran too often. Then we opened the attic hatch. The old insulation had settled into thin, uneven patches. I could almost see the ceiling beneath it. We also found gaps around pipes, wires, and the attic hatch. Warm air from the rooms was slipping through those openings and into the attic. As it escaped, colder air found its way into the house through lower gaps. The contractor told us not to simply pile more insulation on top. First, the air leaks needed to be sealed. Then the insulation could be restored without blocking the attic's ventilation. I let a professional handle it. Attics can hide old wiring, hot flues, moisture, and unsafe insulation. If you find loose, pebble-like vermiculite, do not disturb it. Have it checked by someone qualified. After the work was finished, I noticed something I had not felt in years. The furnace stopped, but the room stayed warm. For years, I thought we needed a larger furnace. What we really needed was to keep the heat we had already paid for. The following Sunday, I sat at the kitchen table and wrote down the meter reading, just as I had been doing since 1973. I still write it down every Sunday, not because I am afraid of the electric bill, but because a house will tell you when something has changed if you pay attention. None of these tricks will make a bill disappear overnight. The real savings come from small decisions that keep working while you sleep, cook, wash clothes, and live your life. Start with one today. Turn the washing machine to cold, check beneath the back door, or look at the 5 lights you use most. Then compare your next bill with the last one. Come back and tell me what changed. And if old-fashioned common sense still has a place in your home, subscribe. We have plenty more to talk about.